Hello and welcome to another edition of the Saturday Show. I'm your host, Cody Goggin, and today we're talking about an action movie that doubles as a horror film, and an album by one of the most iconic voices in music history. Let's get things started with The Terminator. The Terminator is a 1984 science fiction film directed by James Cameron. If you don't know, that's the guy who later directed Aliens, The Titanic, and Avatar. The Terminator stars Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor, Michael Biehn as Kyle Reese, and of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger as the title character. Cameron conceived the idea of the Terminator himself after being inspired by John Carpenter's Halloween. James Cameron would sell the rights to his Terminator story for just $1 on the condition that it would only be made with him as the director. The special effects for the film would be handled by legendary effects artist Stan Winston. Stop-motion animation would be utilized to bring the exoskeleton to life at the end of the movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger had initially auditioned for the human role of Kyle Reese, but upon getting to know Arnold, director Cameron decided he would be a much better fit for the role of the Terminator. It's there that we'll pause for a moment to look at our highlighted player of the week. Arnie was born July 30th, 1947, in Austria. At 14, he would choose bodybuilding over a path in football, and it would come to define his adult life. He would move to the United States at the age of 21 and knowing how to speak very little English. In bodybuilding competition, Arnold won Mr. Universe an amazing 4 times and Mr. Olympia 7 times. His appearance in the documentary Pumping Iron would help pave the way for his later film career. He once auditioned but did not win the part for The Incredible Hulk, which went to fellow bodybuilder Lou Ferrigno. After a few smaller parts in film, Arnold would land his breakthrough in Conan the Barbarian in 1982. Terminator, Commando, and The Running Man would all soon follow. Schwarzenegger would also have success in comedy films such as Twins with Danny DeVito and Kindergarten Cop. But action was his focus, and other hits such as Total Recall, Terminator 2, and Predator would all be enormous successes. Arnold's career would begin to wane heading into the early 2000s, and his acting would be temporarily placed on the back burner, while Schwarzenegger pursued politics. He would serve as the governor of California for 2 terms, during which time he was both very popular and very unpopular with different political parties. Afterwards, he would return to acting with a string of sequels to the Terminator franchise that were not well received. He also appeared in several movies with Sylvester Stallone, as well as The Last Stand with Johnny Knoxville. He hosted The Celebrity Apprentice for a short while and has written many books. His personal life has been one of tabloid legend, with a scandalous divorce having been popular reading in the news. He continues to be active in the political and bodybuilding worlds, while also continuing with new acting projects. His character and voice are iconic, and his work in film the stuff of Hollywood legend. He's Arnold, and he'll be back. Now back to the Terminator. Its iconic synthesizer theme was composed by Brad Fiedel and worked perfectly with the robotic nature of the movie. When it was released, it was a surprise hit, having been made on a very small budget. Reviews were outstanding, and it would go on to inspire the genre of science fiction for decades to come. The original Terminator is a work of art and a great movie. Perhaps it also serves as a warning. This episode, our album of the week, is by Johnny Cash, and it comes from the later period of his career and life. This is American Recordings. Released in 1994, this record came out at a time when Johnny Cash was growing old and had faded out of mainstream publicity. His record sales were dropping dramatically, and his songs were not featured on modern country radio. Cash's health was deteriorating also, and he had suffered a relapse into his addiction to medication. But after performing at a celebration of Bob Dylan's career, Johnny was introduced to record producer Rick Rubin. Rubin was known for his work with rap music and heavy metal artists. So Cash was skeptical when Rubin told him that he'd like to make a record together. But Rick Rubin felt that Johnny Cash had been unfairly treated by the music industry at large, and that he had something of value left to say. When Johnny asked Rubin what he would do differently than other producers, he told Cash that he just wanted to do whatever Johnny felt like doing. Johnny Cash had felt that his recent recordings had been overproduced, with instrumentals and a sheen that didn't suit the raw nature of his music and his voice. Ultimately, his record with Rick Rubin would be nothing but Johnny Cash alone and playing most of the songs in Rubin's living room. 2 songs would be recorded from a small club called the Viper Room, which was owned by Johnny Depp. When the album was released, it would spawn a career renaissance that spawned successful tour dates and several additional albums recorded with Rick Rubin that would include the hit song Hurt and its music video, which would become iconic to the legend that is Johnny Cash. The late period of Cash's career that returned him to form starts right here at this album, and it's an amazing ride. It feels like you're listening to Cash in your own living room. Songs such as Delia's Gone, Down There by the Train, and Drive On are all quintessential Johnny Cash. If you haven't listened to the later period of Cash's career, definitely start here with American Recordings. It's more than country music, more than folk music. Merle Haggard once described Johnny Cash as a walking contradiction, partly truth and partly fiction. And I reckon that suits his myth just fine. Guess I made another mistake. It's not the first time I've had to wait. I made a promise it won't fall apart, even if you break my heart. The promise stands strong. The promise is true. The promise is real. And the promise is for you. A dirty little secret I kept inside, I let it eat me until tonight. I know my problem, I know yours too. I know my weakness, I know it's you. But the promise stands strong, and the promise is true. The promise is real, and the promise is